How how much weight is this whole crane?
415 tons.
Tons. Wow.
Pilot boat berth is just here on the right, but they're out at sea at the moment, just dropping the pilot off to bring that Maersk vessel in. Right, we're just going to do a 3-point turn here, no U-turns here. So this vessel here, so we're outside the port secure area still. There's our new tug Toya there just in front of us again. This is one of the long line vessels. It's a JV between Sealord and Tallies. So the Toya was, we purchased that, arrived last year, cost of about 8.5 million, came from, travelled down under its own steam from Shanghai, built in a shipyard in Shangda. So Damen is a Dutch company, shipyards all around the world. So Changda is a couple of thousand k's up the Yangtze and off to the side, so quite a long way inland for a shipyard, but there's always been one there, and sort of complex river network. Just to give you an idea, so remember the bollard pull of the PAR was around the low 20s, the Huria early 30s, the Toya is about 52 tonnes, so close to double really the PAR, and a lot more manoeuvrable, so a lot more I suppose effective power, not just bollard pull as well. One of the other features you may have read about in the Cool Slipway Basin here is that it's highly contaminated, and we've got a project underway. We hope to start construction probably around the middle of this year. We've got to dredge out the contaminated sediments in here, so like a lot of slipways around the world before, there was containment going on, removal of paint and therefore anti-fouling, just run off into the seabed. And so TBT, tributyl tin, which is the active ingredient, or was the active ingredient in anti-fouling paints, very effective at killing marine life, and therefore the bed of there in the Slipway Basin there is not particularly alive. It's a very black sludgy mess, so that's going to get dredged up, mixed with cement and another ingredient, activated carbon, and we'll form a small reclamation with that. So it's around about an $8 million project, correcting one of the sins of the past. So, but we'll be pleased to see the back of that one. We've been at that since about 2010. Just finally, as we just head back out here onto Rogers Street and then round into Vickerman Street and back to the warehouse. On this side of Port Nelson owns pretty much all the land on this side of Vickerman Street, so the western side of Vickerman Street, and sort of delineation down the middle of Vickerman Street is generally what we'd consider to be the operational part of the port, whether it's our own operations, whether it's marine engineering operations, Sealord, cold storage Nelson you've got here on the right hand side of the bus as we go around. So those activities are either integral to shipping or cargo, and then on the eastern side of Vickerman Street, and then over on the other side of the marina, Axton Street, there's only small parcels of land that we own over there. Tend to be much less industrial activities. And just as we turn around the corner here into Carkeek Street, you've got a view of our new warehouse here. The main warehouse, just over 13,000 square metres. This is a battery charging shed on the end. The canopy where the open days set up there, about 2,000 square metres. So we've got another stage of this that we hope to get underway construction around June. We'll add around another 9,500 square metres of space.
That has the dolphin on, what does it deliver? The shipper.
The ship that has the dolphins on it. So that's import cars coming in, and they get backloaded with MDF that heads up to Japan. That's the end of our tour, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'll just stick around by the front of the bus afterwards if anyone's got any questions they haven't been brave enough to ask. Happy to answer those, but I hope you've enjoyed. Right over here we've got the Buffalo, which is Holcim's new vessel, which they'll be moving cement around New Zealand with. And then as we spin around across the water there, we've got Sealord's facility, and immediately in front of us the Toyah, our new tug. A couple of bits of gear out at the other side of the bus. On the right hand side of the bus here we've got 3 log loaders, or 3 log diggers as we call them. So we use these inside the holds of log vessels. So when we're loading log vessels, the purpose of these is that the logs will be moved in with the ship's cranes, and then the diggers move them around to just basically maximise the stow, or maximise the density of logs that are in the ship. The loader over here with the big claw on the front, that's operated by a company called C3. They do the log marshalling and the log scaling, so they're using those machines to unload trucks, to load the bunks before the logs are slung on, and to move them around within the yard. We just moved down into the log storage area now, so we've got about 5.5 hectares of log storage on site, which gives us capacity for around 70,000 what we call JAS, or Japanese Agricultural Standard, which is roughly a cubic metre. So there's probably around about 60,000 cubic metres of wood on site at the moment. Someone on the previous tour I was taking was saying, why have you got so many? Why don't you just bring them in when you got a ship? Well, that's only about two vessel loads, 2 full vessel loads. So we've worked pretty hard over the last couple of years to basically get all of our log storage within the port gate. There's still a little bit out on the old Nelmac site. That's been a combination of building demolition, buying roads, paving, and going with these 6 metre high bookends. So previously we were running with 3.5 metre bookends. So you can see there's just been a process, whether it's the storage of wine and glass, or containers, or logs, where we're just trying to intensify land use as we get busier. So you can obviously see there's a fair bit of bark that gets left behind in this process, so that gets all swept up and taken. One of the landscape companies takes care of all that for us, so you're buying that bark around your garden, and the landscape outlets here, that's probably come from here. Just moved down this access way into our new workshop facility, so we haven't used this actually in anger yet, very new. The guys are just sort of in the process of moving in, but we've got a couple of container handlers in the new garage. So aside from gear maintenance, we also have electricians, engineers, carpenters, plumbers on staff, as well as the workshop administration staff, and there's gear storage and the like in here as well. So we'll see our old workshop soon, but this one's a big improvement, not just because we can actually get the gear inside. It's also inside the port secure area, and the old one's pretty earthquake prone as well, so pretty pleased to have this new facility up and going. So I think we're about 11.5, 12 metres under the door here, so some pretty big doors on the front. I was with this bus driver last time, and he did manage to do a U-turn here, and everyone gave him a cheer. Is he going to make it? Give the driver a cheer, people. Previously there was a 3-point turn going on.
Do the different companies actually rent space here for the containers?
So just a question there about, and it's a common sort of question about container ownership and how that all works. So what happens, the container lines, or the shipping lines, own their own containers, and basically our charges come from either storage or all the other services that, when they're moved, when they're cleaned, all of those kind of services have different charges associated with them. But it's not, and same with the logs, effectively they're being charged, the forest or the exporter log owner is being charged by JAS and how long they stay. So there's no renting of space per se, but it is it's aligned with the land value of the charges. So just exiting out of the gatehouse here, so we came in just on the other side of this building. So apart from the security staff, the container terminal staff and our marine staff are based in this building here. This is another one of the buildings on the port that's been moved at least once. We're just going to head over, turn around the back of the workshop here and head over our new weighbridge. So that's been in operation probably for about 18 months. It was one of the first steps we got underway with the sort of work that's been going on over the last couple of years. So this previously used to be located over on Warrelman Ave in a cul-de-sac. So we've moved this over here. We have about 80% of the traffic going over the weighbridge as log trucks. And the logistics flow here works really well for that. Trucks come in over the bridge and they turn left and then head in through the log scaling site, and then when they come out, go under the gantry there to hook their trailers back up before leaving the port. So I should have said, one of the other key things that happens in the log yard there is actually the scaling. So you may have noticed, and even as we come along here, that each of the logs has got a barcode on them, so that's telling you who owns it and the size of it, so how they work out the volume or the jazz of each log is actually by measuring it. We're just going to head, just turn around to our left here and head down towards Kingsford Quay again, and alongside the slipway basin. So as we come down here, we've got the slipway basin on our right hand side. So there's two slipways in here. The larger of those is the Corwell slipway. That's owned and operated by Port Nelson. There's a smaller slipway owned and operated by a third party on the other side. So the Corwell slipway will take vessels up to about 2,500 tonnes. So I'm not sure the size of that one on there, but you're probably in the high hundreds of gross tonnage for that Niwa vessel there, so we get much larger vessels than that up. The old workshop buildings are on the left. They were the old Anchor Dorman engineering buildings. You'll see that container handler there, and you can see the size of those garage doors that you can see there's no way they're going to get inside, and I'm going to be pretty pleased to knock those down too. They'll come down. They're just in the queue once behind those other two sheds. Probably be coming down in about April. So on the other side of this Corwell slipway basin there, you've got some of the marine engineering businesses. You've got Amex, Diverse, Marine in General, and Kernahan Engineering, and they're all fairly integral to keeping the fishing fleet going. This barge with the tower on it's our pile driving barge, and our pile